At least 7 Nigerian soldiers were killed after a mine exploded on a highway in Borno State, the hotbed of a Boko Haram militant insurgency, two vigilante officers had informed. Nigeria faces a raft of security challenges, including a long-running Islamist insurgency in the northeast, separatist violence in the southeast, which is very rampant, and oil theft, of course, in the Niger Delta, and kidnapping for ransom by criminal gangs. Shaibu Musa, a local vigilante officer helping to combat the insurgents, said a military vehicle was traveling along the road linking the villages of Manganu and Baga on Thursday when the vehicle detonated an improvised explosive device. Our heart goes out to the families of the soldiers. And Dr. Sam Amadi joins me now to look at this issue and what security agencies should be focusing on at a period like this, talking about the impending protest to start on August 1st. Very warm welcome to News Night, Dr. Sam Amadi. What are your thoughts, when you see the different groups, trying to make a balance of to protest or not to protest, the consequences or otherwise of it?
I think two things. First, I think the federal government has done some good job in, if you like, infiltrating, communicating. In a democracy, it's all about persuasion. It's an argumentative state. So those for, those against. And if government continues to rely more on rhetoric, on communication, strategic communication, or on changing minds and hearts and building coalition, rather than the kind of thing that the Minister of FCT would say, nobody can, you're not an emperor. Democracy, the right to protest is a fundamental, but whether you protest or not is a function of several factors. So government can effectively tell citizens, don't protest, some of these issues, we deal with them. And if their argument is convincing, the citizens can backtrack. So what we're seeing now, some people, let's pretend nobody's bought and sold here. Let's give them the good faith.
It's all Nigerians that are talking. But it has even taken, the concern of Sudanese to say, look at what is going on in Sudan. Yeah. Don't let it, happen in Nigeria. Shelve the protest.
It's good to say that, but it's also good to say that Sudan is not imploding because few people on the street. They imploded because corrupt politicians, self-serving politicians refuse to do what is good. Now, think this way. Democracy is organized in a way that if something fails, there's a petition to somebody to correct it. National Assembly, for example. So when people talk about protest, they first know that protest arises because you have foreclosed options. So if you had an independent National Assembly that could second-guess the executive, for example, if the federal government is going to...
The National Assembly is on recess, 7 weeks.
No, I'm saying before this build-up.
Yeah.
People have no confidence in those institutions. So if let's see how democracy works. So some of the items that they say, call down subsidy remover, okay? You go to the legislators and say, now, this legislature that before any matter comes, the Senate President says, whatever they bring, I will approve. If they ask for an arm and a leg and a head and neck, I give them. So this is the point that the government should also understand. You don't have resort to protest, except the people feel there's a foreclosure of democratic intercession where they can engage. They can go to the courts, they can go to the parliament to say, Parliament, look at this 25 billion to build a house for the vice president when people have nothing to do. Parliament says, no, we won't approve that. Parliament, why do you have to remove subsidy at a point like this? Parliament says we can't do that. So what we're saying now is Monday morning quarterbacking. When you have scored the goal, you have on Sunday, then Monday you come and do quarterback defensive. It would have been proactive. For example, build up to this demand for petition. If the president has come up and concede to some of this demand, why can't the president of Nigeria, for example, say, look, the reality is true, and the government says we're going through a difficult time. 50% line across aids, 50% pay salaries and allowances of civil servants, of ministers. Those interventions will go a long way to forestall the petition. So what I see is that petitions are, just like the IG said the use of violence.
I was going to come to
is a last resort. I like the speech of the
very
IG.
proactive, right?
Very good speech.
Nothing threatening here.
No, and that's how it should go.
Look, the commanders take charge, guides the protesters, and force would be reasonable and to be
the last resort.
At the last
and the last resort is when the police themselves are threatened. For example, there's a public interest for protest. There's also a public interest to protect the peace.
Yeah.
There's a public interest to protect people who are going to go their business, who don't want to protest. Protest is not a compelling job in a democracy. Those who choose to protest. But those who want to opt out, stay at home, do their work, should be protected. At the same time, public institutions should be protected. So the idea that protest gives you a right to destroy public property or injure people.
No, that should be discouraged.
It's not at
it's
all.
Not yeah.
And so the police police has a responsibility to police the protest. And what the IG here, the IG is saying, make it of sense. Be prepared, gentlemen. You learn from experience. For example, the last protest by NUJ, I saw the police, kind of barricade, but didn't impede protest. I was in that protest myself because I thought the NSC protests are well organized because they're strategic, they have an agenda, they'll go around, they pull back. Now, if they organize, and I know that there's a risk of protests going out of control. We see it in the US.
The organizers here are faceless. Why?
But some people have, yes, faceless because they're not a political party. Look, Showere, take it back, says, I am part of it.
But Showere is said to be out of the country.
But
can you be protesting? The people you want to lead are on ground here, and you are, overseas.
Not only Showere, there are many groups. But see the point. Facelessness in the internet age, it seems to be a new mood. It's not faceless. It's that there are no structured leader. It's okay. NLC calls a protest. Ajero and his neck. And TUC.
So we know who to hold responsible if anything goes wrong.
But the problem of a computer internet age and the social media age is that government should be very careful. It's not difficult to thwart protests except by governing well. So if you sit in your hallowed chambers with your military and like the Minister of FCT, sound like new Napoleon, you're wasting your time. It's intractable. But what the IG is doing, what the president should do, addresses, win hearts and mind. People pull away. People say, okay, let's trust government and give them extra time to get this done. But if you sit and say, nobody can protest in the FCT, that's not you. You don't have that mandate. So I think that the problem with people in government that they don't know how the world is shifting. Look at Kenya. Look at Uganda. Whoever thought somebody could even dare the president of Cameroon, of all places? Obasanjo, a wise man, has told you that African youths are angry and helpless, and they're being aided by new technology. As Thomas Friedman said, New York Times says they need technology, superempowers and aggregate angry people, and gives them capacity to strike. So government then should be a government that is responsive. So my worry is that oftentimes government is so relaxed, it doesn't even care about the people.
The government here, just like you said initially, has come out to enunciate, look, these are the things that we've done. Look at the palliatives, we've been distributing, the rice, the grains.
The ones that the governors and aides are stacking, and the looters will soon, that's a problem.
Well, the federal government is carrying out its own responsibilities. Let Nigerians, if they feel otherwise, that the subnationals are not performing, hold them responsible. Why must it be everything to the federal government? That's what some analysts are saying.
You're right, because that's why, in my sense, that the last answers on this strike, if it happens, would also be subnational. When people are protesting, where they're not likely going to the federal government event. So it's going to be a national protest, the way they're framing it. But the key point is this. I want government to do more. What is missing is good faith and trustworthiness. What's the big deal of government hitting at the heart of what these people are asking for? Let's take some of the demands. How can you be telling your citizens, we care about you, we know things are going on, we're going to get around the corner, and you are every day spending, if you look at the Nigerian budget every day, it's all about the people in power. 25 billion to be just to refurbish a VP's house that the former VP lived. The government has not shown enough good faith in the way it has embraced this demand in terms of frugality, a symbolic engagement. Now look at the point now. We know that the national airline, the presidential jet, was faulty. That jet, the turnaround maintenance of airplanes are very reliable, 100%. You now, even without coming clean, you are hearing, oh, the sniper says, even if they bring it today, Nigerians may be dying, but I don't care. So
one thing probably most Nigerians don't know is that there's a new presidential jet already.
Is that good governance? And I'm telling people that, look, we're not factoring the level of poverty and starvation. I've seen graduates who are working in 10 years, medium managers calling and saying, I need 10,000, my wife is sick. These are the people, not just as the president, the Nigerian political class is not responsive enough. The governors, state legislators, the National Assembly, look at the kind of debate at National Assembly, the way they cavalierly deal with national equations. I mean, so the point is, whereas the police is doing right to prepare for, hopefully it will be peaceful, or not at all, depending on what government does, okay? The police is doing well to say, look, we're going to police the state, and that's the responsibility. No, but it's only a foolish person who will say the police should allow property, lives to be wasted. But at the same time, in fact, oftentimes, the violence turn happens because of wrong policing. But if the police follow what the IG says, it won't have a wrong turn. But the bigger question is, we are panicking about the outcome of a likely Kenya scenario. But why don't we first be proactive
on how to
prevent this? Why don't the National Assembly, the leaders, the political class show responsibility?
Is this the right time for the National Assembly to be going on its recess, even though it is a scheduled,
It's
recess?
the wrong time. Because look, the level of concern the presidency has on this matter, the DSS, the police commissioners, you can see that the police...
16 billion has been released for security on this matter.
16 billion? Okay, now, well...
So that's to enhance nationwide security. Yeah.
So if the government is going to spend 16 billion, not to fight war, not to address poverty,
to enhance
but
security.
to enhance security, to preempt, prevent, or contain a protest. That suggests that it's such a serious matter. There's no reason for National Assembly to proceed on any holiday. Again, I want to say it clear. The cause of this protest is a political class that never sincerely... Look, since 2023, we did all this cost of livelihood. Can you list 3 things government has done to shave its own hair as a way of, communicating to the people that they actually care? What we are seeing is the reverse. Gigantic elephant projects. Now look at the corruption around the Malta allegations, okay, about how much we are spending
on the importation of
oil. And what Dangote
they graduated it in the last 6 years.
6 years. And it showed a spike in 2023. And the point is, the spark is that when you are saying that you are not doing subsidy, so the first question is, who has come clean to clear
about
this
subsidy
and said this is the issue? So the mood of governance is one that is more like state capture. And so if I'm going to talk to the young people, and I agree that every protest has a dangerous prospect of spilling out of control. I would want no protest at this time. But you see the rider. If I was convinced that Nigerian politicians are amenable to plea, amenable to good reason, amenable to petition, that what we say on our rise on other channels in this country, they listen and they try to show.
They take it in Numberima Friday.
Absolutely.
But I thought,
but they don't.
Yeah, but I thought, the National Assembly, showed some kind of concern by cutting their basic salaries, donating 50% of it for the next 6 months.
I was the chief executive, and I can tell you what the basic salary is. I mean, that's not...
Only the House of Reps, I've just been
yes, House of Reps, yes.
Yeah.
But the basic salary is what it says basic, but that's not the point. If you watch that procedure, you can see like that. Some people, should we say, somebody just says emotion. We want a whole of government response.
You mean it's not holistic?
No, first, the 50%
there are 3 arms of government.
Of basic, 50% of basic salary is not much. First, you need a good faith to say, this is what we earn, okay? This is not just National Assembly, for example, presidency, and not just about earning. It's about understanding that you cannot, at a time like this, be buying vehicles. Look at what Ruto did after the crisis, just late, but after the crisis. Almost zero out special advisors, zero out allowances.
He has appointed 50% of those he sent back in.
But that was a response that, if it was good faith, shows. So what I'm trying to say is, this is about Nigeria, all of us together. Leaders, whether it's House of Assembly, House of Reps, Senate, Presidency, Governor, should begin to think about empathetic leadership, that they are part and parcel of the people. This idea that they're in a stone wall, and you see it in the language, magisterial, nobody will protest in this city. I mean,
and didn't we see too the legislator in the House of Representatives who gifted the daughter that just finished high school an SUV, a Lexus SUV?
You know, the problem with all those private gifts, it might look like private, is that they build into an optics that tells the people that these are the enemies of the state. So we're at the point here today, the poor people have no confidence. Look, if you look at the Afrobarometer measure, Nigeria has 77% distrust of government. Too high for democracy.
That's very worrisome.
Because perception and behavior. You see, when a presiding officer of a National Assembly in a time of crisis behaves as if he has no accountability to the people, why wouldn't they protest? See, look at it this way. That's why I said democracy works like structure. If it fails, it fails. Whenever one branch fails, people go to the other branch for petition. That's why you have the check and balance. So if you have a National Assembly that was representative and willing to not abuse themselves, you are in the nightclub, you're in a bar hall, shut out themselves. If the National Assembly was responsible and responsive, you go to the street first. Just like the people are saying, you first go to the conflict resolution structure. In a democracy, there's a conflict resolution structure. You have confidence in your honorable member. You petition him. He goes to Parliament and says, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Senate President, this item is not prudent. But when you decide that whatever the government brings is bingo. So my final word is, the police is right. We need to, if there will be protests,
government should be more engaging.
Government should control, manage the process, and ensure that nobody takes excuse to disturb people. But proactively, the cause of this protest is because those in power have shut out avenues for intercession and petition. Thank
you so very much, Dr. Sam Amadi, a RISE analyst, for coming, to give your viewpoint.